Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. Whether you're a longtime Lions diehard or just now tuning in for the NFL draft buzz, you're in the right place. Because today, we've reached a massive moment. It's the final chapter in the epic saga that has been the Detroit Lions On-Seat 2025 NFL Mock Draft Series. And trust me, you do not want to miss what's unfolding in this one. For weeks now, speculation has swirled, picks have shifted, and narratives have emerged. The Lions have clearly shown a growing interest in bolstering their pass rush, no surprise there, but something else has quietly crept into the picture. Wide receiver. That 28th overall pick. It might not be as locked in as people think. And now, with so many elite talents still being connected to Detroit, the possibilities feel endless and potentially franchise-changing. So what's the buzz today? Who are the top names on Detroit's radar, and what are the implications of each potential pick? Could Brad Holmes shock the league again with a bold trade? Or are the Lions zeroing in on the kind of blue-collar high-upside player that Dan Campbell dreams about? Let's dive deep into the final round of speculation. And trust me, this one's a roller coaster. We begin with T.J. Sanders, the disruptive defensive tackle out of South Carolina. He's currently mocked to Detroit by Dalton Wasserman of Pro Football Focus. Wasserman writes that while Detroit is widely expected to target an edge rusher early, if no standout remains at 28, they may pivot to the interior. Sanders, who earned an impressive 81.9 pass rush grade in 2024, offers explosiveness up the middle that could complement DJ Reader and Alan McNeil. And here's the key part. Sanders might begin as a pass rush specialist, but insiders believe he has all the tools to grow into a complete contributor. Could this mean the Lions are building a three-headed monster on the interior, one that rotates and stays fresh deep into playoff football? It's possible. And with the Lions firmly in win-now mode, that kind of trench dominance could be a game-changer in the cold of January. But wait, offense might not be taking a back seat, after all. Enter Tedaro at McMillan, the electric wide receiver out of Arizona. The Sporting News has Detroit trading up with the Chargers to snag him at No. 22 overall. McMillan, just 22 years old, posted 84 receptions, 1,319 yards, and 8 touchdowns last season. He's a big play threat, a vertical weapon, and a fascinating puzzle piece. Some scouts have voiced concerns about his top-end speed and separation at the next level, but then again, others point to his elite catch radius and knack for explosive plays as reasons to bet on him. So here's the question, is McMillan the missing piece to push this offense into the top 3 in the NFL? Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and then Tedaro McMillan. Can you imagine the possibilities? Jared Goff would be cooking with gas. Some insiders believe this trio could rival any receiving group in the NFC. Then, there's Maxwell Hairston, a cornerback out of Kentucky with blazing speed. Dane Brugler from The Athletic reports that Detroit has done extensive homework on Hairston, who ran a 4.28 40-yard dash and posted a nearly 40-inch vertical. Yes, he's raw. Yes, his tackling might not be up to Dan Campbell's tough guy standard, but the coverage potential is undeniable. Is this the kind of high-ceiling risk that could pay off if Detroit wants to build a long-term lockdown secondary? Or would his lack of physicality be a red flag? And now, things start to get really interesting. Matthew Golden from Texas, a smooth route runner with solid hands. Then Luther Burden, 3 from Missouri, a name that just keeps popping up. NFL.com's Mark Ross makes a compelling point here. Brad Holmes rarely makes the obvious pick. Instead, he builds chessboards. With Burden, Holmes might be looking to replicate what Ben Johnson brought schematically, without actually having Ben Johnson anymore. Burden, who dominated the SEC, plays like a younger version of Amon-Ra Brown. The idea: let Jameson Williams stretch the field and let Burden do damage underneath. Could this be the offensive insurance policy the Lions need to stay elite post-Johnson? And speaking of defense again, Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M has people talking. Gennaro Feliz from NFL.com mocked him to Detroit at 26 via a trade with the Rams. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The sack production just isn't there. Only 4.5 sacks in 3 years. But dig deeper. Stewart led a stacked A&M line with 39 pressures last season. This guy wins with length, power, and raw athleticism. Is he a classic example of tape versus stats? Could Stewart be the steal of the draft, slipping only because he played within a deep rotation? One scout said, if he had 8 sacks last year, he'd be a top 10 pick. Imagine pairing this kind of raw pass rush talent with Aidan Hutchinson. That's a nightmare for opposing QBs. Offensive line hasn't been forgotten either. Josh Conerly Jr. from Oregon, Donovan Jackson from Ohio State, Tyler Booker from Alabama, all projected at various points in the first round by CBS, Yahoo, and NFL.com. Holmes has shown a willingness to invest in the trenches, and with Jonah Jackson gone and question marks about long-term depth, this may be the smart, even if unsexy, move. But here's a wild card. Gray Zabel, from North Dakota State. CBS's Ryan Wilson says no one helped their stock more during Senior Bowl week than Zabel. He played tackle in college, but was used inside in Mobile, and he looked like a seasoned pro. Some believe he might be a better leader than a player. But in a Dan Campbell locker room, that might be exactly what they want. And what about Edge Michael Williams from Georgia? Or James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee? Both are elite athletes. Both have been mocked to Detroit by major outlets including ESPN and Fox. Williams is a hand-and-hitter beast, while Pierce brings that raw bend and speed that flashes on every highlight tape. One more name, Edge, N.I.C. Scorton from Texas A&M, with analysts like Jordan Plocker and Chris Trapasso linking him to Detroit. The excitement around his explosive traits is hard to ignore. He's a high-motor player who could be a rotational impact guy from day one. And now, add a new layer to the mix. Xavier Watts, the hybrid safety linebacker out of Notre Dame, a true Swiss Army knife. Detroit has shown interest in versatile defenders, and Watts brings instincts, range, and toughness. He could give Aaron Glenn a new toy to disguise coverage and bring heat off the edge. And don't sleep on the idea of a second-round quarterback. That's right, the Lions have reportedly interviewed Spencer Rattler and Michael Pratt extensively. It wouldn't be a shocking pick. Goff is the guy, no doubt. But with his contract nearing potential out clauses, grooming a successor could be a long-term play. Oh, and what about tight end? Brock Bowers is likely out of range, but Ja'Tavion Sanders from Texas is a name to keep an eye on. If he slides to the second round, don't be surprised if Detroit pounces. Imagine a two tight end set with Laporta and Sanders. That's a mismatch. Nightmare. So now, we're left with a massive question. With all these names, all these possibilities, who will Brad Holmes actually pull the trigger on? Could it be the safe, steady pick like TJ Sanders, a bold offensive gamble like McMillan or Burden, a trench warrior like Zabel, a hybrid weapon like Watts? Or will Holmes do what he's done so many times before? Defy expectation and reshape the narrative. Fans are buzzing, analysts are split, and the league is watching. But what do you think about all of this? Who would you want the Lions to take at 28? Or do you believe it's finally time for Holmes to trade up and get aggressive? Personally, I'm torn. I love the idea of adding another explosive receiver, especially someone like McMillan or Burden, but part of me is dreaming of a dominant defense, a trio of Hutchinson, Reeder, and Stewart or Sanders. That sounds like playoff football to me. Add in a versatile chess piece like Watts, and suddenly this defense looks scary. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Draft day is almost here, and trust me, we'll be covering every twist and turn right here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.